one of the good friends in archery that we love seeing out at tournaments. We got Scott Starnes. Scott, thanks for being here today.
Hey, no problem, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Scott, as we've been talking to folks at this unusual time, what does life look like for you and D right now?
For us, as far as work goes, nothing's really changed. Both our jobs were considered essential, so we're still doing the 40 hours a week. So on that side, nothing's really changed.
Have you been shooting? I don't know where you practice. Do you have your own practice place or do you have to go to a club or something? What's your practice look like?
But since it finally started to warm up, we can shoot here at the house. We've taken advantage of that a little bit. It's been unseasonably cool. The urgency to practice every day is not there. But we're still getting some reps in just to stay fresh with our equipment and keep some muscles memory there that we need.
Well, I liked your explanation. I asked you one time about the 50 meters. You shoot that so much, and I'm going to put you on the spot here, but I like your explanation for why you like that one versus 3D. Tell me that.
I love shooting the yellow target for one, but and I don't really remember what you're trying to get out of me here, what I said, but I mean I enjoyed the 3D, but if I'm going to travel 5 6 hours driving, or if I'm going to fly halfway across the country, I want to shoot more than 40 shots.
That's exactly what you told me.
You know,
You said,
I
I
want to
like
shoot my
shooting my
bow.
bow.
I like shooting my bow. Most target archers do. And you go to a USAT event, you get to shoot your bow a lot. And if you stick around on the head to head stuff after the qualifying round, you get to shoot a whole bunch that day. So,
Now, Scott, how did you get into archery?
um, I got my first bow when I was a senior in high school, strictly for hunting. I rabbit hunted a lot when I was younger, and I got this crazy idea I wanted to go deer hunting. And mom's like, you can't deer hunt unless your dad goes with you. I was 16 years old, 17 years old. So I went gun hunting for a couple of years and didn't have any success. We didn't know what we were doing. We was just winging it. And then I realized that bow season was 3 months long versus gun season was 2 weeks. So,
Right.
I'm like, oh, I got to get this bow. And my dad used to shoot archery back in the 60s when everything was recurves. My Uncle Tenny won a national title in field archery. So, I mean, it's kind of running the family. But so that's what got me into a bow was strictly for hunting. But what drove me to target shooting was an unfortunate knee injury um, in my late 20s. When I got out of high school, I played volleyball. I was crazy about volleyball. We'd play 4 or 5 nights a week. We was on a traveling team. We'd play tournaments, and we was at a tournament one Saturday morning, and we was just out there warming up, taking some hits and stuff. And it was time to start, and I'm like, let me hit one more. And the girl sets it up there, and when I come down, I blew out my knee. And
So your family was into target shooting, and you started getting in target
Oh,
shooting after
right.
you blew your knee out?
so I went to Dr. Shelburne, which is in Indianapolis. He was the Indianapolis Colts doctor. Highly recommended.
Wow.
He's good enough to work on football players. Surely he can do me right. So I went up and saw him, and he told me, I tore my ACL, and he wanted to fix it, but he didn't want to fix it right away. He wanted to wait about 3 months so I could get as much strength back, I get as much motion back, because he told me that when you go into surgery, it's going to take 50% out of you. So the closer I am to 100% going in, the better I'll be coming out, heading into recovery. So he said, we're going to do this surgery in 3 months. You're going to work on your strength, your flexibility. And he goes, your life as you know it now for 3 months is on flat ground. He goes, you got to be on flat ground because your knee's unstable. So what do I do that's on flat ground? Well, we had a local archery shop at the time, and I started hanging out there. And that's kind of what drove me into the target side that D and I enjoy now.
If you're shooting side by side with Kyle Douglas, he probably doesn't know too much about knee pain or back and things like that.
Probably not. A lot of them young guys ain't feeling that yet. And, I mean, I obviously have knee pain from my surgery. And the funny thing about it, I guess it ain't funny, but I laugh about it now. But 7 years after I blew out my knee, I got this stupid idea to play volleyball again.
Ah,
And
how'd that go?
I blew out my other knee.
Oh no.
Jeez.
So, I'm 3 knee surgeries in now. I've had 2 reconstructions. I've had one of them cleaned back out. I'm probably going to be a candidate for a knee replacement one of these days on the one side. But,
Wow.
it is what it is. And we do something a little bit safer now, shooting our bows, I guess.
Dee also shoots with you. How did you guys meet? Was she involved in archery? Is that something she had an interest in once you guys met?
She did not ever shoot a bow before we met. She was a big time bowler.
Bowler. That's what I couldn't
Yeah,
remember.
I
Yeah.
don't bowl with her because it'd be ugly. I mean, she carried like a 195 average,
Wow.
and she lived in a town about an hour and a half from me, and we always shot our indoor state tournament in her hometown, and she had no idea. She thought archery was something you bow hunted with. She had no idea we competed. So obviously she's a competitor at heart with bowling. A lot of similarities, with you got your technique and everything that carries over. So shortly after we got seeing each other a little bit, our state tournament come up, and I'm like, hey, why don't you come over to our tournament and see what it's about? We got done, and I'm like, think you want to try this? She's like, heck yeah. So I was shooting for Martin Archery at the time, and I got a hold of my pal out there, Jake Richmond, and said, hey, this is what I need. She wants to try it. Look at her now.
What's harder for you when you're out there, if you're in a final? Is it harder for you to be in the final or to be in Dee's box when she's shooting in a final? What gets your nerves going more?
It's harder for me to be watching her. I'd
That
rather be
seems to be
doing
the
it.
theme.
I'd rather be doing it.
Oh, that's incredible. What? Talk about that. When you have I believe they call it archer's advocate is the term, where you get to stand in the box with the archer. For you being the advocate, what do you see your role for Dee? What are you there trying to do for her? What's the strategy?
I mean, at that point, I've done it with Dusty too. That year, the first year she went to Lancaster, and
Yeah.
she wanted somebody to stand up with her. And I think that you're just trying to keep everything in check. Just walking them through it, talking them through every little thing, and just don't let them try to succumb to the hype. And
Well, was it last year that you had some strange illness that affected you for part of the shooting season? I can't remember when that was.
yeah, that was last summer. It
Last summer. Okay.
started. I had cellulitis, which is a skin infection. It's a bacterial skin infection. Left untreated, can be very deadly.
Yeah.
Um, I had a sore spot come up on my left forearm at work on July 3rd, and I just thought, man, I bruised that, but I don't remember hitting it anywhere. So I went to my doctor, and he put me on antibiotic. Told me if it got worse, go to the ER. So I got up on the 6th, and it was worse. So we went to ER, and they immediately put me on an IV with antibiotics, and I laid there for like 3 hours, and they just pumped me full of stuff. And they brought in
Hmm.
an infectious doctor that specializes in that stuff, and it's pretty freaky because nobody, my doctor, the ER nurses and doctors, they just come in, look at you, and whatever. But when he comes in the room, he fully gowns up from head to toe, puts on the face shield, gloves, and everything. So then I'm sitting there thinking, what in the heck does this guy think I got? So
Yeah,
now we got a little
right.
bit concerned, and so they put me on antibiotics 20 hours a day. I was on IV, and 20 hours a day I had 2 different antibiotics that was pumping in me, and it took 2 days for it to react. And it was to the point that
Wow.
they honestly talked about cutting me to relieve the pressure because my arm was swelled up so big, and
Wow.
and it scared us. I mean, I've been in the
Yeah.
hospital for a lot of different things, but I've never been scared. You know, you're sitting there wondering, are you going to leave with 2 arms? Are you going to leave at
Yeah.
all? Because this
Man.
stuff's not responding to anything they're giving me. And one of the antibiotics they gave me, they used for anthrax poisoning, just to tell you how
Jeez.
strong it is. He's like, this is the strongest stuff we got. And it just wasn't responding. So it really got our attention. Scared me, scared her. She stayed at the hospital with me for 3 days. She wasn't going to leave me, and I appreciated that. But it finally started responding, and they finally sent me home on Thursday, and they sent me home with another 10 days of antibiotics. So I don't know if you've ever been on really strong antibiotics for 10 days, but it's not gut friendly.
Ugh.
The unfortunate thing was I got out of the hospital 10 days before U.S. Target Nationals,
Right.
and I wasn't allowed to shoot until like 2 or 3 days before we went. The doctor was like, no, you don't shoot. So, we went down there very unprepared, and the
Yeah.
least prepared I felt I'd been for a tournament. But, we had to shoot it, and it could have happened at a worse time. It kind of happened right in the middle of some stuff back in the summer, but it was an eye opener. It scared us both. I'll be honest with you. I don't think most people out there
Yeah.
realize how serious it was.
Yeah. How do you feel now?
I mean, I have no pain or anything. I don't know if I ever got back strength 100% like it was, which is my
Okay.
bow arm. I think it still affects me a little bit from that standpoint, but I'm still working hard. Well, I haven't been the last 5 weeks, but during indoor season, I worked hard at it. Trying to do the best I could all the way up through Vegas.
Now, I have to ask because we've talked a lot about archery, but watching your social media, your Facebook page, looks like you and Dee are doing a good bit of fishing.
Yeah, we live at a lake. It's a private homeowners association lake. It's about 120, 130 acres. I mean, it's big enough they ski on it. It's got real good
Nice.
fishing. Usually this time of year, we're shooting a whole lot more than we're fishing, but it's kind of flip flop because of the virus and everything that's going on. So we have done a lot of fishing. I've definitely put a lot of fish in the freezer. I've ate a lot of fish already this year. We're going tonight when she gets off work. We're finally starting to see some warm weather. We're talking 80s by the first of next week. So the fishing is
Nice.
just going to improve even more so than what you've been seeing that we've posted already. So
Now, I want to see you catch one like the one you found the other week. Tell us about that fish.
holy cow. We've caught some hybrid, we've caught some wipers in this lake before. I think the biggest one we caught was 25 inches. This dude here that we found, it wasn't dead. I mean, it was floating belly up. So I don't know if it ate a small duck or what that caused it to float. But we saw that thing 5 days later, still floating upside down, kicking and everything. But I mean, it was
Man,
pushing 28 and a half inches. I think I weighed it 11 and a half pounds, which
Jeez.
this thing was a tank. It would have been fun to catch.
yeah. I was sitting beside my daughter scrolling through, and that picture flashed by, and she, out of the corner of her eyes, what was that?
My wife caught a real nice largemouth. We posted it probably about 3 weeks ago. It's pretty good. I mean, it's probably pushing 4 pounds, maybe a little over,
Oh
which
yeah.
is pretty good for that early in the year for our lake.
Heck
But
yeah.
she was pretty excited for that one.
Now, with all the fishing you do, what's your favorite one to eat?
Crappie.
Okay.
Ah, okay. You
Yeah.
and Chance Bobuff got to get together then, right?
Oh yeah, he catches some big stringers. With him being in Tennessee, his crappie season's about a month ahead of ours, probably maybe even
Yeah.
5 weeks, as cold as it's been up. I mean, we just had a heavy frost, mid to upper 80s by early next week, so it's really going to turn them on. We're going to get out and shoot some more. Make the decision if we're going to make it up to the NFA Midwest Classic Trail Shoot, which they might have good attendance since Reading didn't happen. I mean, it's run under the same format as Reading, all the way out to 101 yards. So appreciate it. I always enjoy sitting down and talking to you. It's always nice seeing you guys at the tournaments and everything. So I know PSE is giving away a bow this week. Hopefully everybody saw that link that you guys shared and I shared. Get signed up for it. Somebody's got to win it, right?